Greetings, peace, and many, many blessings to you. It is Tanaya TP, or the Perspective Dealer. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. This is a place of self-discovery and perspective and everything in between, honestly. So for this video, I really wanted to talk about navigating the 12th house, as I am learning more about astrology and how it affects my life through my own personal astrology. I've learned a lot about this 12th house stuff. Yeah, so before we get started, if you have any placements in your 12th house, go ahead and take a look at them, see where they are, see how many you have there. And if you have none, then honestly, congratulations. Let me not say that. But it's some deep murky stuff to navigate in this 12th house. I had saw the Hood Healer post someone else saying that if you know who this is and mention them in the comments, let's give them their credit. But if you have a lot of placements in the 4th house, the 8th house, or the 12th house, or even all three, then it like hints at you being the one to be here for the generational trauma, or to break those curses, or to break those cycles. And I can heavily relate to that. Honestly, I did a video recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, on breaking generational cycles and what my experience was. So if you're interested in watching that video, I'll link it in the description. I think it is very helpful to go look at that. Our Black Sheep Warriors are here to break the curses warriors, or just break the cycles, I'll say. And as someone so beautifully pointed out, the video happens to be 19 minutes and 19 seconds. And if you know anything about the number 19, 9 plus 1 in numerology, it's here. Like, it's about endings and breaking cycles and creating those new beginnings. So I found that to be wonderful. I speak on Patreon too about just a deeper level of the things that I go through and experience, and I'll be updating my Patreon more in the upcoming weeks. Because like I discussed in the past video that I just made, which is a Sagittarius new moon video, tomorrow is that new moon actually, but I was just talking about in there how I'm moving away from only creating when I feel good enough, or only creating when I feel like I'm in a certain energy, when I'm worthy and deserving of creating at all times, no matter what I'm feeling like. So I'm grateful for that breakthrough to have come through. Yeah, but I feel like even that relates to this navigation of the 12th house. So anyway, if you don't know, the 12th house is connected to Pisces, which is all about the underworld, the inner world, the void, the darkness. Pisces is the oldest sign, so of course that would have a lot to do with generational trauma, or have a lot to do with generations in general. I'll say like ancestral wounds, if you may. And my North Node is in Virgo, which makes my South Node in Pisces. So I think that, in a past life, I definitely was a Pisces, and I had mastered those Piscean things. The darker level of that would be the escapism, but the higher level would be kind of just fighting for the underdog and sticking through things because you have like that patience of an elder, if that makes sense. So anyway, those 12th house themes will have you with a deep connection, or a strong inner world, or like a really rich inner world, a very strong imagination, a lot of things happening on inner. And if you see me looking down, I have a notebook here that just mentions all the things that I want to talk about. So since Pisces, which is ruled by the 12th house, is also ruled by Neptune, it's about the subconscious, it's about the dreams, it's about that spiritual depth. And we all have access to those things, but I feel like people with a lot of 12th house placements will have a lot of connection to their inner world, have a lot of connection to the depth of their spirituality, and even a deep connection to their dreams. I've been recording my dreams since 2021, and it has gotten me to deeper understand the way that my subconscious lets me know what is happening in my waking life. Yeah, the first thing that I want to mention is about that connection to the inner world, or having a very strong inner world. And I think that was something where I didn't know that it was unique to me. I thought everybody got so deep within themselves. I thought everybody had a lot of introspection. I thought everybody, so as I'm finding out it's unique to me, I can see why it may scare off certain people. The second thing I want to mention is themes of solitude and isolation, which are present. First of all, I have Taurus placements. I have a Taurus stellium inside of my 12th house. It is my sun, it's my moon, it's my rising, and it's also my Mars. So that's in there. And then I have my Saturn and Aries also in that 12th house. So the 12th house is very stacked. It's very, very stacked. And I feel like I'll get into what that reveals about me when I go down this list a little bit deeper and I talk about like my personal experience with it. We're in this themes of isolation, and I see myself often need a lot of time to like withdraw from the crowd. So if I go through something, or if even if I'm at an event and I'm mixing energy with a lot of people, I'm having fun, it's great for me. I can really be like super lively, but I also need like a whole month to repair and like to digest everything that I experience. You know, I'm like a sloth when it comes to that. Like when it comes to processing my emotions and it comes to processing the energy and all of that, I need a lot of isolation. And I'm still figuring out my balance within my withdrawal period so that people don't feel like I'm neglecting them. But that's my own Piscean lack of boundaries when it comes to feeling like I need to show up for people when I'm not showing up for myself. More things. And if that even makes sense about my whole desire to speak so much about self discovery and to be seen in that, because it's like Taurus is in the 12th house. Taurus wants to be seen as beautiful. Well, I am beautiful and I know I'm beautiful, but I think that lately I started to realize that I would like to be widely admired. You understand? And that was like something deeply hidden within me because I didn't feel like it was right. There were a lot of things that I grew up hearing about, like being too cocky or having too much confidence within yourself and things like that, which made me want to put away that part of myself. But I used to want to model. I was on drill teams. Like I was out there. Okay. I was shy and it made me very nervous, but I still kind of did that until, somebody told me, or I had multiple people told me that I was too fat, or I got bullied for, my weight and things like that. So that made me want to hide and go inner and kind of like tuck away those parts of myself that wanted to be seen. Back to this theme of solitude and isolation, I feel like it really does require a lot of boundaries and a lot of communication with how much time that you need, and also you being comfortable with how much downtime you need. So, if you have a lot of placements in the 12th house, especially the ones that I have, listen to them because it's going to be a part of your life that you're navigating, honestly. And there's going to be a a push and a draw towards doing the inner work more than doing the outer work. And that can also be some boundary invoking things because there are going to be people who are more action based on the outside. And then this 12th house stuff is going to prove, honestly, that a lot happens and a lot comes into fruition through the work that we do inside of ourselves more than the work that we do on the outside because it's all a reflection, right? So then, as I was talking about in the beginning, when it comes to the generational ancestral wounds and things that we're breaking, like I was saying with this ancestral wounds and generational wounds and things that we came here to sort through, we have these heavy 12th house themes have like past life and karmic things associated with them. So even if it's not your ancestors passing things down and other generations passing things down to you, it could have been unfinished business from a past life that you were sorting through in this lifetime. And they would have a lot to do with those 12th house themes, which are of isolation, of escapism, of karma and karmic ties. So it's like if you escaped from it last time, you're gonna deal with it this time. That's what the 12th house is telling you to do. Lessons, patterns, things that we didn't break, healing those ancestral wounds, and then even addressing hidden family traumas, right? Like we could have been the ones to kind of discover things with us having this obsession with just not obsession, but having this inkling towards curiosity about the deeper and the inner and all of those type of things. We could have been the ones to like look through the family photo albums or even contact other people in our family who knew more about older people in our family, right? Because we may be whatever age we're in, right? I'm in my late 20s. Ugh, I'm 26. My goodness. And I've even saw myself contact some of my family members who are like in their 40s and 50s who may have known more than me and have been interested in similar things to like rework family trees and learn about where our grandmothers came from and different types of things like that. Like we will be the ones that have that type of interest if you are having a lot of placements in this 12th house. And then you'll be the one to break those cycles. So I'm interested about honestly who in my family had a resistance to travel or who really wanted to see the world and then didn't because that energy is so heavy in me. Like I want to see everything. And specifically, I have a tendency to want to see the water in so many different places. Like I want to see all the rivers and all the oceans and all the different places. Show me all of it. I have a lot of excitement towards that. And then even, if we are going by this story that we've been told about slaves, and I'm saying the story that we've been told, honestly, because we've been told it. We don't really know the full truth of it in the level that we've been told it type of thing. So even having an inkling towards seeing the waters in so many places could be me trying to connect deeper to my ancestors who have chosen the water instead of choosing to be sold and owned and all of these type of things. So there's that. The fourth thing that we may be working through a lot, or that I know I'm working through a lot by navigating this 12th house energy and having a stellium, specifically a Taurus stellium inside of this, is sensitivity and empathy. And like, just being real sensitive to the energy of other people. I can walk into a room and I don't really pick up on energy like I used to, as far as like being a sponge, like absorbing it. But I can always tell when somebody's not saying something. I can always feel the tension. I can always feel oh, there's something unsettled here. And then there's another energy within me that kind of wants to spark up the fire, shine the light, and be like, so what is it? Y'all gonna talk about it now? I'd love to be witness to that. So that's like my little trickster energy. I think that's how my Gemini comes through. My Gemini energy comes through and wants to like start those conversations and expose the tension because of my curiosity. It's literally genuine childlike curiosity, but then it turns into, I can handle this. Let me ask the question, or let me be the one to like push the nudge. But the 12th house is definitely going to be the one to like feel the energy and like, you know, pick up on those tensions. So, and then even having sensitivity to the way others speak about me, the way others view me, the way others, honestly. And that's also been something that I'm navigating through, like not caring so much about what other people are doing and not being so sensitive to what their thoughts and feelings are about me. As a human in general, you're going to kind of care about what people think about you, but it's about the action, like how you handle it, how you react to that, because it could just like slide right off of you. Like you can be aware of it and then be like, oh well, like sure, great. But the part of us that cares is the part that notices. You understand? The part of us that cares is the part that notices. Yeah, that's the sensitivity and empathy thing. And then there is a Piscean theme of like kind of just voting for the underdog or trying to be there for the underdog and trying to see them through things. So that could be something else that we pick up on and spend some energy on. Then the fifth thing I have here is hidden talents and self undoing. So there could be a lot of unseen strengths that you have that you don't necessarily expose to others because you're still working through it within yourself. And you honestly might not even be aware of it because you're so used to navigating it within yourself. So when other people see it, they might comment on it and be like, wow, you're so strong. I didn't even know that you could have the capacity to deal with that or grow through that or even witness that. And it's like, that's a thing to be pointed out. Like that's a thing to be celebrated. I didn't even know that. But that's why I also have grit written on my throat because I think that a lot of my unseen talent has to do in the way that I share and express myself. I saw somebody talk about like how artists, no matter what kind of artist they are, a visual artist, a vocal artist, whether they paint, whether they sing, whether they play piano, play an instrument, whether they express art through their body, like dancing. So whatever kind of artist you are, right? There's an ability for you to kind of bottle up something and put it out towards people in a way that they wouldn't be able to do for themselves. So that's also an unseen strength, like the way that you speak. For me, myself, I'll say, the way that I can express myself is really part of that 12th house energy because I go in myself a lot and then I have a really rich inner world. That's something that I looked at when I was doing some research on this 12th house navigation. It's like I can spend so much time on my head in a healthy way because I also want to express it. I want to share what I discover so that someone else can benefit from it because I know that there is power in expressing something. A lot of people feel a lot of the same things, but they don't know how to express it. You understand? And then something else about grit, essentially, whenever people ask me about the tattoo, I tell them that it has to do with how I can go through so much adversity and I still want to pursue what I want to pursue. It doesn't stop me from nurturing myself. It doesn't stop me from nurturing my talent. It doesn't stop me from nurturing self-discovery and going within myself and like chasing after what I want, even if what I want and what I desire in this lifetime doesn't seem, it's not taking a linear path. It's not like a equation that makes sense to a whole bunch of people where I do this, and then it equals this. It's kind of like I use my joy. I experience the things that make me happy. I share it, and then I see what rewards come from it because I was never seeking really a reward. I was just doing it, and then through that, you know, comes the benefits, comes the rewards. So that's really what the grit is about. Just that ability to shift and maneuver through perseverance and not let it stop you, not let it break your spirit, not let it deter you from things, even if it's not the norm, even if somebody else would have crumbled under the same thing. So that even relates to the unseen strengths, but another thing with the hidden talents and self undoing is shadow work and finding out different ways that you self sabotage for yourself, going through your own unconscious fears and really living them out. Because if it's one thing that I learned is that if you bottle up or if you suppress a fear, it's just going to wind up playing out in your reality because you're kind of showing the universe that you want that experience by how much you focus on it. You understand? When you sit with these fears and you kind of go in meditation and kind of let them happen in front of your face, it's similar to the Avatar, right? If you've ever saw Avatar: The Last Airbender, when Aang had to sit and work through every single scenario without reacting to them, I think it was a guru in front of him trying to teach him how to do it. But essentially, that's a lot of the 12th house, like that energy of let me watch it all play out while I'm here and while I'm safe. So that way, if it does come to fruition or whatever, I can have a different reaction to it than what I thought I would have had. Or I can work through it right now so that it doesn't have to actually come through in my experience of what we call reality. That's really beautiful. Being able to address those unconscious fears and figure out where they come from. And a lot of times the things that are stored in our body, like I was talking about in the generational cycles video, is not necessarily ours. So some of these fears may be from a past life. Some of these fears may be from generations ago that were passed down to you. And some of these fears could be like on some fight or flight stuff that we thought we needed for survival, but we're not in that experience that our ancestors were in. So we can play it out differently. We can heal it. Essentially, we can face it now, face it in meditation before it even has to come to reality. There's a lot of power in that, those hidden talents and that self-undoing. Even the ability to process things like that is a strength within itself. We are really good at being the healers of ourselves, being the teachers of ourselves. And not to say that we don't need other healers to come in, we don't need other teachers to come in, because everybody in our experience of this lifetime is a teacher, if you really want to get down to the root of that. I'll move on. Number 6 will be the connection to the collective. So it'll be a pull to service or help others because we have this soft spot for the people, a soft spot for the people, but it will come through in wanting to heal, wanting to teach. Those things that we can do for ourselves, we want to do for others because we see the benefits that it has to us. But I think, boom, another boundary would be seeing that everybody is not here on the same path to ascend to the same level. I'll say, like, we all, if you know the tree of life in ancient Kemet, we come here on different branches. We come here to achieve different things. So if you're on a branch and you're trying to teach somebody on a different branch how you ascended to this level, but they're only here to get there in this lifetime, it's kind of a waste of breath, or it's like a waste of your knowledge and your talent. And what I learned about being a projector in human design is like waiting for invitation so that I'm not throwing my pearls to swine, even though I wouldn't necessarily call people like that. You know? Just having your intuition open and knowing who to give it to because you know who's going to receive it best. And then sometimes you think that someone isn't getting it, but then they may not have got it in that moment, but it sat with them. And then years later, whatever you were saying kind of clicks and it hits at them. And it's like, wow, that's what she was talking about. I'm going to use that information now. So it's really, is there ever really throwing pearls to swine? There's that. Then this oneness with the universe and this ability to dissolve the ego, right? When you have a really strong connection to your inner world and a strong connection to the void, it's like you kind of know that the stuff that the ego wants, obviously it's going to happen because we're human, but there's going to be less of a focus on that. And you're kind of going to know a little bit more that you're more than this experience, this 3D experience that we're having. I remember I was like 9 years old in a bathtub and I was just like, I got real quiet in the bath and I kind of moved my feet around and started, patting the water so I could just tap into the environment. And I was like, yo, I'm really a human being and I have a family. And it was just like, it was like an existential crisis at 9. I was just thinking so deep. But I'm like, yo, like this is a part of who I am, but this is not all that I am. You understand? So I got to do more things like that. Just sit in the water. I love me a bath and soaking and just connecting in that way. But I also swim a lot and I love the ocean and I love the rivers, as I was talking about before. It's easier for you to dissolve the ego, to kind of understand the lesson or understand the teaching deeper, because you know that it's not this physical self, it's not the body, it's not the letters that we scribble down onto a piece of paper and call our names, right? It's easier for us to see that we are here for a deeper purpose and not just what the ego says we're here for. Yeah. Me personally, what I've been navigating with this Taurus stellium, it's like I was talking about before, this desire to be seen and be admired and things like that, that's kind of been hidden in my 12th house. And then even the way that I express myself, like I love to dance so much. I didn't even know that I love to dance this much until I started dancing in public too. And I'm like, wow, that's really been hidden within me. And it brings out so much joy in my body and my spirit. It's such a booster to everything. And for so long I've denied myself of that. So I think it's like the things that I've denied myself of when it comes to pleasure, right? Heavy Taurus, if I've hidden it, it's coming out now because it's like, no, you really love this. If you take away what other people thought about it or thought about you or thought about your body image and you just did the things that make you happy, that's what I'm picking up now from this stellium. Then I'm not really too sure about the whole Saturn and Aries thing and how that plays out in my 12th house, but I feel like I view Saturn as a father, like father like energy when it comes to like throwing those hard lessons and things like that. And the things that I am learning about my own father and our relationship have definitely took me into the shadows. My dad is a Pisces himself. So this connection to death and to rebirth and all of that kind of shows me that I have the power to recreate myself however many times I need to in this lifetime. And as I said that, I'm getting like so many chills. I have the power to rebirth myself and to rebirth the reality that I want to exist in. That's dope. But with it being in Aries, it can be childlike, it can be impatient. And I feel like my impatience is something that's also coming through a lot as of late. It's like I'm denying myself of pleasure, of joy, because it's not happening right now. So getting more comfortable with this slow and steady pace of things. And just because you're getting comfortable with it doesn't mean that you're settling into it or that it is everything or that it's always going to be that way. You know, I was just talking with my friend earlier about how the mind creates these, oh, if you don't do this or if you don't get out of this now, it's going to always be like that. And the mind is going to do that because it loves us, it wants to protect us, it wants us to have the best experience. But sometimes it's playing tricks to get us out of experiencing certain things because it's like, oh, well, who are you going to be if you don't do this? Or what is it going to look like? Are you going to be safe enough to experience this? And I can even go into that because of how much time I spent inside of my head, you know, just recreating and reworking. And it's really beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. But at a certain time, it can be too much. You know, at a certain time, it can be too much. That's why it's really important to tap into the pleasure, tap into the joy, tap into that childlike energy of things where you can kind of get away from stuff. So some of the challenges of it, I have escapism, feeling isolated, having difficulty facing your fears. So escapism, I can definitely relate to because I used to smoke a lot just to like, you know, go into my own inner world. And when I smoke, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I just wanted to like feel everything that I was feeling, feel as fried as I could feel, escape a little bit, go into my own head. I would have like some vivid dreams and things like that. And it would stop me from having to deal with reality or having to deal with whatever emotions I was truly experiencing because I was trying to get away from certain emotions. So that's another thing, like with the Taurus, having more comfort in like just feeling like nonchalant, like, you know, I don't even have to worry about this. It's fine. It's whatever. But a lot of that energy gets stored inside the body and it's going to have to come out at some point, some way. So you might as well feel it all. And when I made the decision to not drink, not smoke, and feel everything soberly, I'm like, yo, I'm really feeling this. I'm really, really feeling this. When I lived in Florida about 2 years ago, I saw this pattern emerge of like this little girl who just wanted to eat everything. And she wanted to eat everything because that was how she controlled her abundance. It's like, okay, I know that if I have a meal or if I'm eating, then it means I'm rich. Kind of similar to like that old Japanese mindset where like the sumo wrestlers, or if it's a lot of ancient societies where if you was fat, it meant you had money, or like you was real abundant, you was real rich because you had food, especially when other people didn't have food during famines and things. I'm like, yeah, I'm not experiencing no famine. I'm not poor. I'm not this. I'm not that. I always got a meal. So yeah, I was young when it happened, but I stopped doing that. And then when I started going through issues with survival mode and feeling like I was being attacked by the lack monster, I would start eating so much again. And that didn't really fully stop, honestly. Sometimes that pattern still comes up on me. And I think now I am being more conscious with it because like I said, I'm not having these old ways of escapism where I'm having some wine or getting a little margarita or taking a shot to like just calm myself down or something. Now I'm actually feeling it. Now I'm actually doing what I have to do to process it. Now I'm actually going with inside my body to connect it, to feel where it's coming from. Of course, this is only after throwing my hormones out of freaking whack. And now I have to do the work to, you know, re-regulate them. But at least now I have the consciousness to know, like, oh, this is a dysregulated nervous system. You don't know how to regulate your emotions. You're still learning how to do this, and yeah, so much of that. And then when I get into my lack monster, need to survive type of energy, I do tend to isolate myself because I'm telling myself this story that, oh, I don't deserve help. I don't deserve community. I don't deserve this because I'm feeling this low. And it's like, girl, as high vibrational as you be feeling in life and as much joy and light that you bring to other people, it's so okay if you have a few moments, even a few weeks, honestly, of feeling down. You deserve the support. You deserve the love. You deserve the healing energy that comes from having community in those times. So I'm learning to get myself out of that cycle of isolating myself when I'm feeling a certain way. Obviously, like I said, this theme of solitude and isolation is important for me to have my downtime. I'm going to have to withdraw to collect my energy at certain times, but as long as I know where it's coming from, and as long as I know it's not coming from that whole I don't deserve it, I'm not worthy energy, it's fine. Even with having the rich inner world, I'll keep calling that to like, even with having that energy, it can really feel isolating if other people don't go as deep as you. And I've really experienced that. I gave this analogy before of like going into the deep end of the water and being comfortable existing there, and then trying to drag in people who are afraid of the water, people who don't know how to swim, and you're not even giving them a life jacket. Okay, you're just dragging them into the deep end with you, and not even caring about how that may make them feel. So part of that can be isolating, like, but there are people who are ready to swim with you, and there are people who come prepared for you and with you. It's just about connecting and finding those people who understand and who want it. If you want that connection, you're going to do what you can to be a part of that connection. Then with this difficulty facing fears, I feel like as long as you have community and you have a strong will, it'll get done. It'll get done. The opportunities that are there from having a lot of 12th house placements are spiritual awakening, self discovery, and then having this embracing factor when it comes to dealing with things that are unseen and unspoken. It's like you're not afraid. You become not afraid of the void, not afraid of the darkness. It becomes your friend. And that is so, so important in this lifetime because you can be the light, but you can be the light through going through the darkness. And when you can shine light on other people's darkness and you see their darkness, you start to know how to deal with it instead of interfering with it in a way that you take on the energy. You interfere with it in a way that makes them see that you're not having that shit. So I think that is very beautiful. And it helps people navigate their own karma, right? You're not picking up on it to deal with it with them. You're just exposing to them what they have to work on within themselves. And then the same thing with yourself. You're exposing what you need to work on within you. So if you have those 12th house placements, like I was talking about in the beginning, drop a comment below. Let me know where they are. Maybe I can tell you a little something, give you some perspective. And yeah, if you're interested, join my Patreon where I go deeper, like I was talking about earlier, into self-discovery and different patterns and things that I heal through. I post a lot of interesting content on there. Honestly, you should really go check it out. I think that is all. I don't have anything else here. Outside of those comments and me asking you to talk about your 12th house placements, if you have any questions for me, I will gladly answer them. You can just drop them in the comments. I'll either make a YouTube video about it if it's like worth a long form explanation, or I'll just comment back to you in the comments. Much love.